Welcome to Good Sir Strategies, where making enjoyable, theme-based, and balanced builds is the priority. We will bring each unique build into the forefront by focusing on its skills, nodes, gear, and playstyle. Are you looking for access into the empowered Monolith? Then this build will have you covered. The goal is to always create builds that can tackle the endgame, which is 100+ corruption. Today I'll be showcasing the Savage Reflect Druid. The build is currently at level 90 and is sitting at 100 Monolith corruption. With this build I wanted to prove that Reflect is a viable source of damage. In this video we'll be looking at the how to play summary, gameplay footage, skill explanation, viewing of passives, going up against some empowered bosses, and the test dummy stats. If you are interested in a certain part of the video, for ease of access, everything is timestamped in the description below. The level 100 full build guide is listed in the description and is also linked as a pinned comment underneath. Now let's explore this build. Rush into a crowd of enemies using Rampage while in Werebear form. This will cause a war cry to trigger, which taunts and pulls enemies towards you, while inside the crowd of enemies transform into Spriggan form. In this form, spam Thorn Shield and watch as the enemies drop. To regain rage, use Summon Vines. Eterra's Blessing, Warcry, and Maelstrom will be automated through the skills above. Maelstrom is converted into a physical type with the help of Cyclone. Maelstrom will predominantly be used to heal you via Healing Winds, but will also do damage with the Eye of the Storm. Increase Maelstrom's duration to create more stacks of Maelstrom. To lower its cost, spec into Calm. Warcry is a support skill used while in Werebear form. To bring down its mana cost, invest into Energized Charge. To lower its cooldown and to remove stunning the enemy, spec into Shallow Breath. The Spriggan can't reflect damage if the enemy is constantly being stunned. For healing, spec into Breath of Eterra and Whirlpool. Whirlpool is another great way to give you stacks of Maelstrom. To pull enemies towards you and have them attack you immediately afterwards, put points into Deep Roar, Staggering Roar, Apprehend, and Challenging Might. Challenging Might will cause you to taunt all enemies in range for 6 seconds. Note, this skill has a total of 27 skill points. If you can't gain the additional last 4 skill points from a T7 prefix, which is the level of Warcry, instead set Deep Roar to 2 points and set Staggering Roar to 2 points. Eterra's Blessing is expensive to cast, so max out Conservation. Speccing into the node Rosebloom allows both Spriggan form and Werebear form to heal when summoning a Thorn Shield. This combos well with the nodes Improved Blessing, Ancestral Renewal, and Boon of the Shifter. Purge cleanses all ailments and is a requirement when putting points into Eterra's Blessing. For example, this will allow you to survive while standing in an enemy's poison pool. To finish this skill off, increase your resistance with Safeguard. Your health will often dip down low, but that's okay. You have a great buffer, which is your maxed out endurance. Also, as long as Eterra's Blessing is healing you, you will live to see another day. Note, Werebear form only casts Thorn Shield from the passive node Thicket of Thorns. First off, spec into Voice of the Thicket, so that you can shapeshift directly from Werebear form into Spriggan form. Werebear form is solely used for traversal and movement, so speed is a major factor. Put 3 points into Dauntless to counteract the speed loss from Unending Storm. Speccing into Unending Storm removes the cooldown of Rampage, so use Rampage as much as you like. Run into a crowd of mobs, then transform into your Spriggan form to reflect their damage back. However, just because Werebear form is for traveling doesn't mean the bear can't be beneficial in any other ways. Using Werebear form's Roar acts as casting a Warcry. As long as the skill isn't on cooldown, by using Intimidating Cry, you can roar after each rampage. When Roar is activated, you are briefly immune to all damage via Warcry's Juggernaut. This is very beneficial when switching from Werebear form into Spriggan form. Swipe and Maul are rarely used with this build. First off, spec into Roar of the Woodland, so that you can shapeshift directly from Spriggan form into Werebear form. You will stay in Spriggan form for the majority of the fight. Thorn Shield will be used as your main attack, which reflects damage back to the enemy. When switching from Werebear form into Spriggan form, you gain Arboreal Protection, which grants you Thorn Shield. Upon first transforming into Spriggan form, for the first few seconds you will gain a massive amount of armor from the passive ability, Primal Shifter. This will give you time to set up that reflective barrier of thorns. The two attacks you want to use while in Spriggan form are Summon Vines for the added rage and Thorn Shield for your defense, your attack, and your heal. Spirit Thorn is barely used in this build, but does come in handy if enemies aren't triggering your reflect damage. Summon Healing Totem is only used during boss battles. Summon Vines will now gain rage per second from Tears of the Forest. This combo will resolve the issue of constantly losing all your rage. Methods for automated healing are Summon Healing Totem, Eterra's Blessing, and Maelstrom. All three of these skills will proc off of your Thorn Shield. From time to time, manually tap your hotbar key to place down Summon Vines, while repeatedly spamming your Thorn Shield. The max amount of Thorn Shield stacks on you are 12 stacks, and the max amount of Summon Vines is also 12. You will need some defense in order to continue reflecting, so spec into Iron Bark and Eterra's Bulwark. The great thing about Eterra's Bulwark is with each stack of Thorn Shield, your armor also ramps up. At the same time that you will be stacking Eterra's Bulwark, you will also be stacking Maelstroms with the Glacial Grove. Without Thorn Shield being cast on yourself, this build would be useless, so it is imperative to spec into Introspection, which makes these thorns only target you. The question arises, is it possible to only have Thorn Shield cast on yourself while still being able to cast it on others? The answer is actually yes. By putting 1 point into Barbed Thicket, you get the best of both worlds and can now also place Thorn Shields around your Summon Vines. In Higher Corruption, your Summon Vines will be one-shot, which means the amount of rage you gain will be lowered, but with the Thorn Shield protecting them, you are guaranteed the constant intake of rage. Also, if an enemy is attacking your Summon Vines, rather than attacking you, the enemy will now have higher odds of attacking into a Thorn Shield. Another great attribute of Barbed Thicket is Summon Vines having increased global physical damage, and will also cause enemies to bleed while being shielded. You will be on the hunt for nodes that boost your strength, attunement, armor, endurance, rage, and health regen. I would have to say all these passive nodes for this build are essential, but if you really want to, you could swap out Gift of the Wilderness and swap out Druidic Prowess for other skills of your choosing. Health regen is a requirement for this build. Yes, it is true that endurance cuts back on damage, but you will need health regeneration to quickly spring back to tip-top shape. Here are all the nodes that assist with health regen: Primal Strength, Natural Fortitude, Blossoming Garden, and Overgrowth. The greatest thing about reflect damage is that it bypasses a majority of the boss bar ward, making these battles quick and painless. You can also attack and destroy a few types of spires from anywhere in the Monolith Echo just by reflecting back their damage. You will want to use Thorn Shield more frequently than Summon Vines. The recommendation is after every 5 Thorn Shields, then cast Summon Vines twice. Repeat this process. Timing is important. Don't cast Summon Vines if you know you're about to be hit by a big attack from the enemy. Remember, as soon as you stop casting Thorn Shield, you stop casting Eterra's Blessing. Since the cooldown on Werebear form takes time to replenish, use Werebear form as a traversal wisely, because your defenses will be lower in comparison to your Spriggan form. Comment, like, share, and subscribe if you appreciate these builds. And as always, enjoy the build, enjoy the experience. Wherever you take it from here is up to you.